So, I guess I thought that the theme was like sex and bugs. So we'll see how this goes. This is an excerpt from something that's bigger. I don't know what it is. It's kind of like a series of vignettes though, so there's not really a whole lot that you need to know. But it's about a girl who has some special powers. So it's called Uber Alice. Platform, 28th Street, downtown 6. The wine turned Alice and Joey into rubber. They bounce off each other down filthy stairs with the giggles. They are reflective. They keep touching each other, seeing if the other is real. Alice glides to an MTA machine, taps start. Joey robots to her and she laughs. She dips and touches, then touches and touches okay, and then grabs and walks and swipes before turnstiling. The train screeches to a halt on the opposite side. She looks back at Joey, swiping, swipe, 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 pause, swipe, beep, then a green go, and then tumbling into her. The train breaks into song, the first 3 notes of Somewhere squeal, filling the tunnel. She falls into him, and then, what the fuck, and what was that, and giant cockroach, and then with wings, they break apart and are bouncing again, off walls, dodging, squealing, sprint, leaping, scream, then fleeing, the hand holding, the running down the platform, the people glaring, Joey sitting, his chest heaving, Alice sitting, her chest heaving, him speaking, but before that, her collapsing into him, the laughing. Fort Greene, Brooklyn. It is a dark and stormy night. No, but really, the city is in heat. The humidity reached its apex, a stifling 97% by 8 a.m. that morning. Alice readies herself for sleep on a blow-up mattress in Laurel's living room, but can't seem to settle down. She pictures gross little bodies crawling over her neck and arms, feeding off her, getting all fat, leaving behind a festering itch. Scoundrels, she thinks. Her studio is being bombed for bed bugs. She hasn't slept in weeks, can't get past the bugs. There was a routine she created. Every night was the same. Blast the AC and don the appropriate anti-bug suit. Any socks, preferably knee-high, neon green leggings, turquoise leg warmers, gray and hot pink striped turtleneck with stretched out long arms, chartreuse glove mittens, and a ripped navy blue hoodie. She knew these buggers focus their attention on the most accessible parts of the body as one sleeps: ankles, arms, neck. She was no fool. She threw the hood over her head and stretched the cotton neck of her shirt up over her chin, then jammed her hair into the space in between, slipped on the gloves, and braved herself for the night ahead, hoping to sleep for a couple hours, uninterrupted, without waking to see a bloated bug fleeing the scene. All that remained of what one could reasonably call bedding in her apartment, as every bit of fabric in the place had been sent out to be cleaned and debugged, was a flat sheet and a caseless pillow, which left no place for bugs to hide. Knowing the creeps hated daylight, she moved her desk lamp so it shone over her head, and she would flick it on before bed, hoping to keep some of them at bay. She tried to close her eyes. This is all just a bad, bad dream. She felt a tickle and jackknifed up, searching for the little black nub of a thing come for dinner. She saw the culprit and sighed with relief that it was still flat as a penny, which meant it hadn't fed off her yet. She flicked it off her pillow and onto her bookcase, picked up a nearby candle deemed Slayer, and slammed away at its sad body as it refused to die. But tonight, in Brooklyn, safe in Laurel's care, she hears the answerless roar of thunder that seems to echo too far off in the distance for any hope of relief, and Alice doesn't do well without air conditioning. For a long time, she lays motionless, staring at the underside of her friend's coffee table, before realizing she is never, ever, in a million years going to ever fall asleep. She thinks about bugs, her mind addicted to the pain and creepiness of it. She thinks about what their life is like, if they enjoyed living in her brick wall, if they felt bad about sucking her blood, or if they had the attitude of poachers. She imagines all the little places they had been hiding, remembering the day she lathered up her bath sponge and bugs came out when she squeezed it. What if they made noise, she thinks, like just a little noise, like you could hear their feet scurry, or they had wings to scrape together to make a symphony. Would my apartment sound like late summer in the country? She shudders, her body tenses, and she realizes she isn't breathing. She tries to sit up, but slips a little from the weird movement of the mattress, gives up and lays back down. She twists her spine and reaches her arm out long to grab her iPod, reeling her earbuds in. They press sharply into her ear as she lies on her side, and she grumbles, twisting and turning them to find a less painful position. Do parasitic bugs make noise? What if they did? What if all bugs made noise? Roaches alone would make constant cacophony. She holds her iPod up and scrolls through the list of artists before choosing shuffle and shifting uncomfortably in the bedsheet, wishing she could be naked, wishing it was fall and she could at least have a blanket to embrace, or at bare minimum her lover. Her body relents and she drifts, faintly half hearing the buzz of thunder, melded with the croon of Mama Cass as she begins to dream a little dream. Alice's studio, Alphabet City. Echo and the Bunnymen. Angels and devils beating out speakers. Beats felt in floorboards, felt in walls shaking, even the bed, heart beating. Neither Alice or Joey notice. She really is a sensitive girl, he thinks to himself, thrusting 2 fingers deep into her, watching her lips part, her back lifting, forming a soft arch. A moan escapes. He slips his free hand in the space she creates and, grinning with satisfaction, gradually picks up speed. She steadies herself on the shelf, books falling everywhere. The cat darts out from under the bed and into the closet. Her neck is bent awkwardly against the wall. Hair loops down her chest like snakes, bouncing. She writhes, making a mental note to send each of his exes thank you cards. Weekly. She grabs his wrist and lets out a moan before fixing a hair from her eye and letting hands explore the edges of her body, feeling her electricity. She reaches down, gently slips off his boxers, noticing for the first time he's wearing a cock ring. So he wants it to be that kind of night, she thinks, smiling, contorting her body, her ass in his face now, guiding his cock into her mouth. Tompkins Square Park. Alice leans up against the fence on the east side, fanning herself with her clutch, and waits for Laurel. She lifts oversized sunglasses to squeegee the sweat off her nose and recoils from the pain of seeing the sun. A puddle of sweat collects at the top of her closed thighs. She shifts and straightens her dress a little, scanning the crowd for Laurel's parasol, which she insists on bringing to every brunch, rain or shine. Her phone buzzes. Laurel will be late. She leans off the fence and starts for the cafe, each step feeling like cinder blocks. She opens up her purse, grabs her pillbox, and sifts through the blue, white, and green ones to find a Vicodin. She snaps it in 2 and pops 1/2 in her mouth, gagging it down her cottony throat. There, she thinks, plucking out a Xanax and letting it melt bitterly on her tongue. Once in the cafe, she pushes the long row of window seats together and waits. Not long after comes Laurel, who naturally perches at her right side, and not long after that comes Vicky, Lindsay, Tess, and Corey, who brought Danielle, Emma, Jennifer, and Tracy, who later invited Abby, Tabitha, Julie, Andy, Martinique, Sandra C., Sandra D., Ava, Monica, Audrey, Cindy, Liza, Rosa, Isabel, and Geraldine, who prefers to be called Jerry. With each arrival, they scoot into each other. Alice closes her eyes and rubs her temples, not blinking them open again until a round of applause prompts the waiter's arrival, with him a tray of bottomless mimosas. Alice takes a sip of hers, rubbing her head again without realizing it. As she presses harder on a particularly sensitive spot, she becomes aware she has been replaying a song in her head, over and over. like background noise all morning. It's irritating, though she kind of likes it, both the irritation and the song. It loops through her memories of the night before, of Joey, of Bugs. Worry. Why do I let myself worry? Mixes fluidly with laughter and moans and conversation. She closes her eyes again, sees Joey through wine eyes. The twittering conversation of the women surrounding her makes her ears feel like baby carrots are being forced into them, beating against the drums. But when he looks at her, she feels something open up inside herself but can't place it. Wondering, what in the world did I do? Naked, her back up against the kitchen wall, that smile. She pinches a piece of his hip. He eases into her. She floats until she feels his skin warm on hers, and he devours her, gone. I'm crazy for trying, and crazy for crying, and I'm crazy for love.